Yo, what's going on YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte. Guys, we're taking a look today at the Nashville Predators trade where they traded out Viktor Arvidsson to the LA Kings for a couple of draft picks. We'll be looking at who I think won the trade, the direction of these teams going into this offseason based off of this trade. We'll be looking at all of that in this video. If you guys like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL and more videos just like this one, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and an even bigger subscribe down below. And let's look at this trade. So, a pretty big trade here in the offseason. Really, the first trade this offseason. A pretty big one, in fact, as the Los Angeles Kings acquire forward Viktor Arvidsson. In exchange, the Nashville Predators acquire the Nashville Predators' second-round pick here in 2021, and they acquire next year's, in 2022, third-round pick. Wow, I have to admit, I'm actually quite surprised at the low return that the Nashville Predators got for Viktor Arvidsson. I was expecting at least a first and a second. I mean, it just seemed like Viktor Arvidsson, you know, there's more to it, but the big thing is you look at his contract, you look at his production, and you look at his age, he probably could have gone for more than what David Poile got. And I'm a little bit surprised at the return for a guy like Arvidsson. Now, looking at Viktor Arvidsson's numbers, last season, he did only have 25 points in 50 games last year, so maybe that's something that was considered in the deal. But you look at his NHL career, 239 points, 127 goals in 385 appearances in the big leagues. He is still fairly young too. I mean, he's 28 years old. He's in the prime of his career. I don't know. It seems like an interesting move here by David Poile. You look at the rest of his contract back. He signed this contract back in 2017. He signed a deal that would, pretty much give him his big deal. This was a guy that at the time of the signing, Nashville still wasn't sold on whether this was the legit guy he was going to be or not. And the salary cap has been flat recently, but you look at what he would go on the market now, it's probably for at least $5 or $6 million. Maybe not with this past season, but before that, he's had a pretty good NHL career. At only $4.25 million per season, making $29 million here over this deal. This seems like a pretty good deal. And the thing is, this contract will go till the summer of 2024. So they still have him for another 3 seasons. This is some really good, really a great move by Luc Robitaille and Rob Blake out there in LA. Now again, for the Nashville Predators side of things, obviously they are starting the retool, potentially even a rebuild. You look at some of the names we've heard about: Mattias Ekholm, Ryan Ellis, Viktor Arvidsson, who has been definitely generating some interest over the last couple of months. Even guys like Dante Fabro. The Nashville Predators are going in a different direction. And whether they're able to move out some of the big contracts like a Matt Duchene, like a Kyle Turris, there is still some concerns there in Nashville. But this is the beginning of them really rebuilding this franchise and kind of giving them a new face. And that kind of shows the direction that David Poile is likely going this summer. I wonder if this has anything to do with Seattle. The fact that he's moving out salary cap space, I wonder if that is a big portion of it. Maybe David Poile looks at it as, hey, let's move out some salary and we could bring in some bigger contracts from elsewhere and maybe at least get draft picks from them. Maybe that's the mindset. We kind of saw Bob Murray do that with the Anaheim Ducks really over the last 2 or 3 years, so maybe we see them do that. And then for the Los Angeles Kings, this is a great move for the Kings. Now, the thing is, the Kings do have a lot of forwards that are starting to develop throughout the organization. Guys like Arthur Kaliev, Quentin Byfield, who we're going to see more of, Alex Turcotte. So they're definitely on the rise in terms of their forward core. And a guy like Viktor Arvidsson, at that cheap contract, he's going to add some scoring depth to this young LA Kings team that, because of the weakness of that Western Division or the Pacific Division next year, depending on how things go with Seattle, they could very well be in a prime position to make the Stanley Cup playoffs in the summer, really next summer, in the summer of 2022. So we'll see what happens. They add another top 6 forward. I wouldn't be surprised if they look to add somebody else. That's going to look like a pretty solid line. You have Andre Kopitar, Dustin Brown, who had a renaissance season last year, and then a guy like Viktor Arvidsson. That's a pretty solid start to the summer for the LA Kings. It seems like they're starting to get themselves out of the rebuild into a retooling team, and eventually, just maybe, potentially in the beginning of next year, we may see this team as a team that can at least compete in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So, guys, what do you think of this trade? Because in my opinion, I have to give their win to the Kings. They acquire a guy on a cheaper contract who can play in the top 6, who has that scoring touch, which is very hard to come by in today's league, and they didn't even have to give up a first-round pick in that deal either. So, I'm going with the Kings winning this trade today. But if the Nashville Predators acquire a top 4 or draft a top 4 defenseman and a top 6 forward with that second and third round pick, maybe in 5 years from now we look at this as a win for the Preds. But as of right now, I have to give it to the Kings because they acquired the best player in the deal. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL and more videos just like this one, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and an even bigger subscribe down below. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys next time.